Hello everybody. Today Mr. Travis, your English teacher, your friend, is going to help you out, and he's going to explain to you some of the fundamentals of English classes at PDP University. Specifically, we're going to start talking about what EAP. What does it stand for? EAP stands for English for Academic Purposes. So what we have, General English, is not that English that we are going to use at university, but it's going to be something different. So we will be talking about Introduction to English for Academic Purposes, and we will talk about academic writing style and the way that we are actually using our EAP skills during our stay at university. So what are we going to talk about today? So specifically, what do you know specifically about EAP? What is English for Academic Purposes? We will discuss it. And what are your expectations of this module? And what would you like to achieve in this module? And exactly what do you expect from your tutor, from your teacher, right? And what do you think this tutor expects from you? So we're going to discuss all of these things in details. Now, let's talk about the situation. Well, hello, my name is Johnny. I am here at PDP University. And my IELTS band score, as you can see here, it is 7.5, so I think my English is fantastic, but not just good enough, but it's fantastic. So, why do I need EAP? Well, I can just study by myself. I mean, you know, with this English I have. Take a look at this. So look at the text. Now, read the text and try to identify all the features of non-academic writing. So I'm going to give you, 3 seconds, in which you will have to pause it, and I'm going to talk to you in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Pause the video now and analyze the text. So, if you get back and if you pause it and if you understand it, now take a look at this thing and you can see it here that there are lots of specifically general English elements here that you cannot technically use in your university classes. So you can see here that we've got we got here, hey, you, where, when you start, your first job, real job, well, hey, you got a girl, or a girl, you're a guy, but a lot of decisions are the same, and so on, so on. There are lots of technically, we would say that the impolite and improper things that you can use actually in your academic life of university. I would say that this kind of English communication would be proper for you to go out and have a talk with your friends and you know, explaining some things. Or maybe if you're a YouTube blogger, you can actually just stay before the camera and you can talk before the camera just like this. But when you are specifically working with university professors, academic world, and you will need to write a lot of articles and papers, well, you will have to change some of the parts of your English. And what parts, we're going to discuss them right now. Specifically, next slides. Now, take a look at here. You can see this text, which was taken from this Patterson K and Wedge book, like Oxford Grammar for English for Academic Purposes, by Oxford University Press. And you can see in this text that you don't really see actually you anymore, and you don't see I anymore. Why? We don't have I, you, or any kinds of idiom slangs and that kind of stuff. What's the problem here? The problem is what? This English is what? This English is pretty much academic. And as you remember from your IELTS exams, IELTS was what? It was divided into two sections, IELTS Academic and IELTS General Training. So what was the difference? General training was something you know, you would actually take this exam and maybe for immigration purposes or other things, but specifically if you would like to study at university, you will have to take IELTS Academic test, right? So from that perspective, we believe that English for academic purposes are very much important. That, I mean, English for, should join a Tak, from that perspective, again, join from that perspective, English for academic purposes would be a lot more important for you in terms of what? In terms of studying at university, but not just general English, right? So, now, let's move on. I'm going to give you, again, 3 seconds. So you can pause it, you can take a look at this, you can analyze, and specifically you can realize that this thing, I mean, this text is a lot better than the previous one in terms of what? In terms of being academic English. So, 3 seconds. There you go. 3, 2, and 1. So, welcome back. I think we can move on, right? The next one. Well, where do we use this thing? Where do we use academic English? Are we going to use it with our moms, dads, brothers, sisters, or when we are singing rap songs, or like talking to our, like, let's say, friends from Mongolia, from Korea, from Europe, or maybe, you know, another Jimmy from what? From Texas, right? No. Well, academic writing is mostly used what? Like in certain areas, like, you know, we need to express ourselves from a different perspective. From what perspective? I mean, it's not something like a guy, I mean, Johnny is telling you. It's not something like Jennifer is telling you. It is something that is pretty much smart and neutral, and that is the way of communicating what? In the academic world, by writing papers, writing articles, and what? Like, you know, delivering these messages to the world, to the academic world. It's not just something like you're just, you know, filming yourself before the camera and, you know, posting this thing on YouTube, right? So this is something a little bit more responsible and practical and actually very much serious. And there are some certain standards that you will have to follow. Without this, your papers, articles, and the other things, other tasks that you are going to submit, they won't be accepted. So what are they? Let's have a look. So where do we use them? Actually, we use them specifically in what? Within the as I said, like, you know, this academic world. And how do we use this thing? And actually, you know, academic writing, actually, you know, it is the there is a writing that we actually take from different sources, like, let's say, such as books, magazines, journals, and some smart things that you actually would like to use while proving something, while proving some points, right? And yes, we will have to make it what? Argumentative, right? We will have to prove what we are talking about. It's not just something like, hey, you know what? Jennifer told me that that sky can be green, right? Or Johnny told me that the volcano can sometimes be cold, right? No, you just cannot tell someone's opinion, like for some certain reasons. Yes, yeah, that you heard from a neighborhood, right? No, this is something like pretty much smart, pretty much proven, and this is the fact that was taken from some smart sources of information, of knowledge, like such as, like, I don't know, like probably it can be from a library or some other places where you can find, as I said, books, journals, articles, reports, and many other like academic stuff that you can actually use in your papers. As you said, yeah, the word academic is good, but the word that I used, stuff, it is not academic word. And that's why you will have to be very much careful and start learning academic English from now on. So let's move on. Like this academic language, why do we need this thing? Do we need this thing in the communication? No, not in the speaking, but specifically in writing, communication with other people, with the other world. So we will talk about them like one by one in details, right? Now, let's move on. Can we specifically use personal pronouns? Actually, not much. So, I'm going to give you just a little example. So let me write here, I think, shu joyini yana kesib Okay, boshqadan yana qilamiz. Так, hozir men o'chib tashlasam bu narsani o'chib tashlaymiz. So, where can we use I, we, you? Can we use it or not? Let's think about this. I'm going to give you just an example. Like, let's say you want to give your own opinion, but let's say your opinion says what? Like, you would like to say, actually, I think that driving this car. Okay. Tak, yana pauzani bosamiz. O'chib tashlaymiz.